or beautiful for you?
I'll tell you tomorrow.
Art tomorrow. Why? You say right now.
今酔っ払ったからそう読む
No,
I won't tell you.
No, you have to say right now.
No, I'll tell you tomorrow.
No, you have to say right
Why?
now. Why? Why? I don't know why.
Am I Am I cute or pretty for you? Really? I'm cute?
No, me.
What about me?
No, me.
What about me?
What about me?
Me first.
We're going to devote our energies to sports and gardening, all the cultural pursuits as far as they're concerned. In fact, we're going to put the goons to sleep. Meanwhile, we dig.
Here we go again.
Happy Video Day! Give, live, Pied Piper! Take them all away!
This is Byrne Power coming to you from Tbilisi, Georgia. Somewhere in the Caucasus Mountains. Not in the U.S. state of Georgia, but on the fringe of Europe. Well, before we go too far, I want to just give you a bit of a warning about the content of this particular series. And that is, I'm going to be looking at a lot of aesthetic things. Sometimes things that are very disharmonic with each other. So this might be called the cute, but it's not going to be simply cute imagery. It's some of this imagery, depending on who you are, might be very disturbing because there's a lot to say about our situation now. One of the things I'm doing is looking for the underlying sources of our problems. There are an awful lot of people out there now making political videos, even cultural videos, religious videos, philosophical videos, trying to understand where we are. Some of them are doing a good job, some, sadly, making just propaganda. I'm trying to do something a little to get below the level of which people are generally arguing back and forth. And this idea of the cute, and also following up on this in a couple of episodes, the creepy, are issues that are neither left nor right. They are subterranean. They are something that is problematic for everyone living specifically in the Anglosphere, specifically in Western Europe, but also Japan, China. In many places, these issues are kind of starting to be felt very seriously. I feel them even here in Georgia, which is not known for being... we're not on the cutting edge of visual imagery. That isn't to say there aren't things going on here. There are very interesting things going on. But fortunately, maybe, not a lot of this stuff. Although, when I go into a place that sells toys, or, sometimes some of the movies that come here from the big world, I see this imagery coming. Now, if you're addicted to cute things, let me just tell you, you've wandered into a very unsafe zone. Because my goal is to get you to question your connection to the cute things. And if I'm right, most Americans these days, anyone from the boomer generation on down, has in some way or another given themselves over, particularly to what we're talking about today, the cute. I'll define the cute in a moment, but I just want to let you know that this is not a safe zone where we're going to have lots of happy thrills talking about cute things. This is going to be exactly the opposite. where I question as foundationally as I can through this series the nature of what we have done to ourselves. And I do look at it as something we have done to ourselves. This is not something that has existed throughout history. In fact, it's very, very recent, less than 100 years old for the actual problem I'm discussing. And I would like to remind you, now there will be more videos after this, so watch the whole series, but also go back and watch number 1, the introduction, which is mostly just the questions that came to my mind in my observations about the nature of the cute and the creepy. And you really have to watch that before watching this one, because that one gives you the idea, the floor plan of why I'm doing what I am doing. Also, watch the interview that I just recently put up with doll maker Jana 7, and I think you will find that very interesting because it relates not so much to this video as it does to the ones coming about 2 episodes down the line where we talk about the creepy. And so I'll just say that. Anyway, before we really get into things here, like, share, subscribe, the usual stuff. And if you feel like adding a few dollars into the kitty, there is a link down below and a description of what you can do if you wish to get some audio extras. So might I invite you to do that. And let me just remind you, this is a lot like my How We Got Here series. Lots and lots and lots of borrowed imagery, which means even if I could get my money from YouTube, which I can't because of my location in Tbilisi, Georgia. But even if I could, I still couldn't get it on this because I'm going to have copyright stuff on here that people are going to go like, you shouldn't use that, that's ours. Or you can use that, but we get your money. So again, if you feel like supporting me, because I'm doing all this for free, essentially. Let's start asking the questions and let's try to find some answers. Why has the world become so cute? So why is the world so cute now? Why is it so filled with cuteness, with big-eyed creatures? It's almost like an alien invasion. And I'm old enough at 67 to remember a time where there were some of these things, but not nearly as many as there are now. And occasionally I would have the thought, I don't like cute things, or it's too saccharine, too syrupy for me, or something. I would just kind of put it off to the side, oh, children are watching this, or something like this, and then go on with my life and not think about it too much. But a couple of things really started to get me thinking. And one was, I walked into the post office in Haines, Alaska, where I used to live. And it was in the early winter in December. And what you have to understand is that we all have to go to the post office in Alaska, in our little towns, because there is no postal delivery service. You don't have mailboxes waiting for the mail. So everyone has a little post office box in the little post office, and you have to go there every day or whenever you want to go check your mail and see who sent you stuff. It was around, I don't know, maybe 10 years ago or so. When I walked in one day, it was December, like I said, and I walked by a poster of a rather cute, friendly snowman. It just reeked of cuteness. And I looked at it for a second, and I looked down at the bottom of it, and it said, printed by the United States Post Office. And I said to myself, wait a minute. What does this have to do with either the United States or the Post Office? What is this cute thing here as a representative of what? Well, yeah, wintry fun, I guess, but that's a whole subject that can be discussed at another time. What is this mystical concept of fun? And it relates to these things, but I'm not going there right now. I was saying, how did a cute thing for a child, or is it for a child, how did this come to represent the country? And I had this huge question in my head. It just disturbed me that this cute thing somehow represented something official within our country. And that no one walking by it was ever going to question it. It was just simply like, oh, it's a snowman. Oh. There was another time I was in Seattle. My mother had to get an operation. This was, I think, around 2012, around the same time. And I was in downtown Seattle. I don't remember the area. Someone who's from Seattle might know it better than I do. But there's a zone where there's kind of some hipsterish things on the side of the hill there, and not exactly all the way downtown, but not too far from it either. And I was looking, and there was like a magic store, so you could go in there and buy books on chaos magic. And a little bit further up from there was a store, and I looked in, and I said, oh, they have books, that. And it looks like books I've never seen before. So let me go in and look at the books. In the store, I went in. It was rather brightly colored, and a lot of it seemed to be very much primary colors, kind of like I don't know, Fisher-Price toys, those kind of bright colors and such. And the shelves were like that. It just all felt like it was a really happy place. And I thought, I wonder what kind of books I'm going to find here. And I went up and I saw some of the books on the shelf, and I started pulling them down, and after a while I started realizing that they all had something to do with sex. And then I said, okay, maybe I've just run into the sex section of the store or something. And I started walking around, and I hear a couple talking to having a rather bright conversation with the person behind the cash register about how to insert Benoit balls. I'm not going to explain this. If you know, you know. If you don't, you don't. It's nothing you really want to think about too long. But I'm listening to them, and I'm looking at this kind of hipsterish couple, and I'm sitting there going, wait a second. This is like some kind of weird sex store, but it looks like it's designed for children. What in the world? It just struck me as the most absurd, weird thing. And then I said, but it makes sense. It used to be to go to like some sort of porno store, that kind of sex shop. You'd go to someplace on the fringes of town or in the dark part of town, the sketchy part. And you'd walk into some place that usually had all sorts of trashy stuff on the windows. Sometimes there'd be little signs saying, discount today, 3 for $1 or whatever, talking about DVDs or VHSs or whatever. And there'd be like, if you walked into one of these places, your eyes would fry immediately from all the really sleazy porn stuff just looking straight at you. And you felt grimy anywhere near that store. I mean, you didn't even have to go in to feel grimy. But this place, however, it just felt so cute. And I thought, this is really strange. What is... And these people are strange to me. They're sitting there like... It's like they're buying toys. And there were other stuff on the wall that led me to think they were buying toys, if you know what I mean. So I've been thinking... I started just looking around me. And I started thinking more and more about this. And I said, we are surrounded by weird, cute things. It's like this alien invasion. I mean, obviously there's stuff like, Disney movies. And there's manga and anime coming from Japan, which we'll discuss a lot more in the next episode. But there's also, just it isn't just the cartoons and graphic imagery and such like that, but it also goes into the way people act. Like I said, I was in this sex shop, and people were acting like they were in a toy store. It was just like, ooh, look at the new toy.
Furries know how to party. That's all I really gotta say. People look at us and they're like, oh, what a bunch of losers, you know. They probably just sit inside all day and jerk off to furry porn or looking at images of fuzzy animals. You know, they don't know how to get down. Furries know how to party. Don't get it twisted, okay?
And it goes to the juvenilization of society. It goes to gaming. I mean, some of the gaming, and there's another culture that I'm not talking about that has to do with darker things, horror things, action things, violent things. And not that I have a lot less of a problem with that stuff than I do the cute stuff. Because that stuff is what it is. But the cute stuff is pretending to be something else. And I started thinking about why that was everywhere. Why when you go into the medical clinic, you're sitting there waiting for your appointment, and you're looking around you at all the different signs. And there's a really cute diabetes sign. And another cute sign for how to get a shot. Are these all for children? No. Some of them have far too much wording to be for children. Young children. And I'm sitting there saying, how did the hospitals become a place for cuteness? You see, it's a strange thing. And I also realized that for many people, now, in our world of fandoms and geekiness and all of this stuff coming out from under the, the counter, as it were, you know, hey, do you have any of that cute stuff here? Yeah, we've got it right here. I realized that for many people, their primary experiences, aesthetic experiences, artistic experiences, creative experiences, hovered around cute things. And I also realized that it's impossible to question these things. But I said to myself, why? What's going on? What happened? How did we get here? Why is this everywhere now? How did this sneak up on us? So that leads us to this question. Before we move on any further, answer the question, what is the cute? It's a very simple question. What is cuteness? The word cute originally comes from the word acute, which generally means sharp, which comes from the Latin acutus, which also means sharp. So, and you can also hear its relationship to the word cut. So somehow, though, and this is where things get really weird, a word that means sharp ended up describing baby-like things that are soft and round. Because that's what cute is about. Interestingly enough, the word acute also relates to diseases. So you can have an acute attack of appendicitis, a sharp attack, an immediate attack. But how did the word mutate from acute to cute? Well, they used to talk about certain young women around the turn of the 19th to the 20th century. And they would talk about them the way we would say, oh, that's a smart looking outfit. Or that person is smart. They would say, the same way they would describe, she's an acute girl. Meaning she's sharp, she's intelligent, she's witty, she dresses well. And eventually they started spelling it without the A, but with an apostrophe. So it'd be cute, with a little apostrophe at the beginning to remind everyone they cut off the letter A from there, letter A. But you can see now that there is a path this is going to travel. And you can still hear younger girls when they're talking about boys today will say something like, oh, he's so cute.
We are going to be reacting to cute boys on TikTok. Oh, wow.
He has good abs.
Okay, rating.
Him a 1 million out of 10. I feel like he looks like a cartoon character.
It's slightly different as a word, but basically related to the way people would talk about cute women in college or something like that, which meant intelligent women. Interestingly enough, cute means anything but intelligent today. So something was lost in the translations. Interestingly, we do have a sense of the word sharp buried in one of our idioms when we say something like, how cute, ironically. Or, that's cute, also said ironically.
Try and roast me? That's cute. You lost your virginity to a prostitute.
When we say that's cute or how cute, we're really saying it more like the word sharp. We might actually say something like, oh, really sharp, like really intelligent. Or the way sometimes people say, hey, he's a real Einstein, meaning the guy's a genius. Not a genius, the guy is actually just an idiot. He's a real Einstein, you know. How cute. But what's interesting in that is that what they're really also saying is how dull. And this dullness thing is where everything is going, towards something that is not sharp at all. Now, cute also relates to big eyes. Essentially, what it has become is a synonym for something that's kind of like a baby. So a rounded head, big eyes, small mouth, something like that. There was someone who wrote something about this on the internet, and this guy said, we'll just call it, to describe what cuteness is, the awe effect. The feeling you get when you see round, fat, little puppy bellies with big, smooshy pumpkin faces and those puppy dog eyes. And I'd like to say two things about that right away. Yeah, that's kind of cute. And it is exactly that kind of sentence which reveals the problems that cute is going to present to us. It's that imitation of innocence and youngness that's going to be the nightmare as it develops. Interestingly enough, there are evolutionary studies which have something to do with the fact that babies and young things are cute in order to get us to have a reaction that is something like, ooh, I need to protect you. You're so young and vulnerable. And many people said, we need to do that with our babies because if the whining, screaming, shitting, pissing little creatures, I heard some woman call her daughter, baby daughter, a automatic sprinkler. If this little tiny thing looked like a baby hyena instead, nobody would want to protect this thing. But instead, there's something in its eyes that glues us to it, especially the mother. But everyone when they see a baby, they go, oh, it draws you in. Now, the aesthetic experience of cute is very similar in name, but not in reality. But interestingly enough, there have been studies that talk about the evolutionary value of cuteness for precisely the fact of keeping the species alive, and that humans in particular have a very long growing period from birth until maturity. And, we arbitrarily in America put an 18-year-old date on that. And when everyone knows that your brain doesn't finish, now we know that your brain doesn't finish up till around 26, 27, which is very curious because we also have fully functioning sexual organs way prior to that. I'm not going into, why that is. We'll just call it God's sense of humor for now. But people will point out this evolutionary thing as if this explains why there's Mickey Mouse. As if this explains why there's Frozen, the Walt Disney movie with Elsa, not the great adventure horror film of these people stuck on a ski lift in the winter. The evolutionary explanation does not explain the rise of cute aesthetics. It only explains the fact that there are babies that look a certain way. It doesn't explain why full-grown adults are now identifying as being so cute, like the way this guy was writing about what cute is. I mean, as if that was an explanation. It's not a real explanation, which is what I'm going to try to get to in this series. Interestingly enough, along the way, another word from another culture was thrown into the mix, and that word is kawaii. It's a Japanese word, and it means something like it so inspires you to protectiveness, like a baby or like a young animal. And most Japanese anime has this quality. Now, I've had people tell me, no, it's only the certain subset of anime, which is super, super hyper cute, that has it. And I would argue, no, anytime you've got big-eyed creatures, I don't care what they're doing, you've tapped into that nerve. And it is the big eyes that I find particularly disturbing, because they are tapping into that cute. You just have to protect these things, and this becomes a big problem. Interestingly enough, the Japanese conception of kawaii also has other concepts connected to it that we normally have not put in with the idea of cute. One of them is sex, and the other one is violence. And you can see why these two in particular create a huge torque inside the notion of cute. Cute is baby-like. Sex and violence are not. So, but we are going to talk more about Japanese kawaii and anime in the next episode. And I am sure, because they're so cute, people are going to try to protect the anime. And I'm not saying they're all bad, but I'm coming. Cute essentially is the rounded, the soft. Anything can be made to be cute. There was a very interesting demonstration on a video of how a hammer, one of the least cute items in a toolbox, one of the most damaging. Ow! Don't do that. One of the ones that, whenever you pick up a hammer to use it, you will eventually smash a finger. Something you could actually kill somebody with. How it can be made to look cute. And the answer is you change the dimensions, you make it rounder and softer and fluffier, and so cute has to have with it, besides the baby-like qualities, it has to be rounded and soft in some aspect. And the fact that anything can be made to be cute is not good news at all, as we're going to see. Because what that ends up meaning is nightmares of human existence are made to be cute. And as they are made to be cute, they have to be protected because they just inspire it, you see. And in fact, making something cute is one of the weapons today of our new cute aesthetics.
Okay, Tom, tell me the news. I'm sure you all can guess what I'm going to tell you next. It's today's big announcement. As stated in a previous broadcast, today we've completed the construction of the resident services. We've also added someone to our island staff. I'm so excited. Who is it? was my very last broadcast.
Back around 1990, I remember a friend of mine took me to see a show, and the people in the group he was showing me, he was introducing me to, people who became my friends later, did a very strange show involving paint and colored bodies and all sorts of stuff. Very strange for most people. Very strange. But that wasn't what struck me. There was another band playing. I mean, yeah, well, that did strike me. But there was another band there that struck me too. And they were doing a kind of show that was almost all like children's music. And I remember someone turned to me and said, yeah, it seems to be something brewing around Kinderschmaltz. You know, kind of children's, kind of, almost adopting the attitude of becoming children. And that led me to start thinking, this movement never really developed. But it did kind of set the antennae out for an idea that something was happening in the realm of cute aesthetics. So in the realm of cute aesthetics, I've long noticed posters. They kind of come from, well, you know, you can get a Disney poster of Mickey Mouse or, you know, Ariel from The Little Mermaid or any number of cute Disney products, and anime, obviously. But you can also get, and this I've noticed for even longer, you can get pictures, photos of young animals and hang them on their walls. And I remember seeing a lot of this in the 70s and early 80s. These you know, little fuzzball animal photos, which always made me want to cough up a fur ball. And there is a problem here when you start seeing everything as cute. And this is particularly a problem with animals. And I am certain we have done something to our relationship to the animal world by seeing them as cute. It's amazing how many people want to protect animals, not allow them to be food, in the name of protecting them because we can be their friends. If you ever watch the movie Grizzly Man, which I recommend, in Alaska we kind of saw it as a dark comedy about a guy who thinks the bears are his friends. Where would a person get such a notion? Oh, they've seen all these little cute posters of bear cubs and pictures of bear cubs, and now they share all this stuff online. Why do you think cat videos and cat pictures are so popular? Because they feed into the notion that the animal world is just filled with cute little things. And here's what I can tell you. Living in Tbilisi, watching what you probably, if you're living in most Western countries, the Anglosphere, the cleaner parts of Asia, the really nicer parts of Asia, you probably see cats and dogs as being your friend. And well, yes, they certainly can be, although cats less so. But here's the point. Here in Georgia, not many people have cats in their house, but there are lots of cats here, and they live outside. And I, for a couple of years in my other apartment, had a chance to observe the mating habits and the living habits of cats. And all I can tell you is, and here, it's a thing you cannot look up online. I have looked and looked and you just can't find it. That is to say, how do cats actually live when they are not household pets outside? And all I can tell you is it involves, you know, nightmarish fighting. It involves, you know, the very few of the kittens live. Why? Guess who's killing them off? You know, Dad, the tomcat. And they fight each other. And the male and female scratch each other while they're having sex. It's just crazy stuff. There's nothing cute in the behavior of cats. What it is I think evolutionarily they have figured out if they look up at you and widen their eyes, they know how to hypnotize you. Because if you actually spent time with them, you would be frightened at the way they live. We're not even talking big cats here. And when we consider this strange, cute image of animals, we often get something that does not match reality at all. So we see an image of a tiger cub or a baby lion. And it gives us this view that these animals are simply, what can we say? Well, we need to protect them. But what we're not seeing is the adult animal. And what we're not seeing about the adult animal, for instance, the Lion King, the original animated film, also presents the lions as cute, even in their adult form. And what we're not seeing is what lions actually do. The gore of sticking your face inside of another animal. And then there's this question. Why are some animals, when they're babies, considered cute, and other animals not as much? So, consider the hyena. This is a hyena puppy, or whatever they're called. And there's something about it that's off because we're used to seeing dog puppies. And that is, there's something about the hyena that isn't a pet. Even though there are some people in Africa who have trained full-grown hyenas. But this is a hyena. This creature who is just covered in blood every time it goes to eat. The reality of animals is lost to us. And you can really see this with people who get so sentimental about the way animals are. But people who see animals as some sort of cute, magical, funny animal. They want to be a furry, or they want to be some animal, catkin, lionkin, these names that are related to this. They don't understand animals because they're seeing them through the lens of the cute.
So in my spare time, I go out to my yard. In my spare time, I go out to my yard and I prance around and I eat grass. And I just watch it because it helps me feel like in tune with my dear self.
And we think this is such a normal thing. The smiley face was invented around the early 1960s. It didn't really catch on buttons and little stickers and stuff until the late 60s. The hippies started putting them on things, went with the peace signs and stuff. But then in the 70s, they became bigger and bigger. You would see them more and more, but they were considered kind of dorky by most people at that time. But eventually, they just kept going. The little smiley face, which is two dots and an upward curvature representing a mouth smiling in a yellow, sunshiny color in a round circle. Now, this thing has been lampooned by quite a bit in, in the Watchmen series. Alan Moore had a version of the smiley face with a bullet in it, bleeding. I've seen a Cyclops version of a smiley face. But it doesn't matter how much you lampoon it, because here's the problem. Lampooning a smiley face by drawing another smiley face that's not so good doesn't actually work against it any more than having a bumper sticker that says, "I hate bumper stickers," helps you get rid of bumper stickers in the world. Interestingly enough, I don't notice bumper stickers here in Europe. not the way they are in America. But it's still that there's something about the smiley face that it's cute. That's why it's immune. All the things in the category of cute aesthetics, because they borrow from baby-likeness, and who can attack a baby-like thing? And we see this in the journey from emoticons to emojis. I mean, basically, this is the mutation of the smiley face gone insane. And now you almost have to use these things sometimes because we're typing in a font you can't even change when you're doing text messages to each other. And sometimes these messages seem so emotionally flat that people have to use these little exclamation points of emojis to get across their message. However, that creates huge problems. And one of the problems is, for instance, you start hearing about representation in emojis. So that everyone wants an emoji which somehow represents their quote-unquote community. These are not communities. That represents their identity. Really? I don't care who you are, what your sexuality is. Showing an emoji of yourself being in the LGBTQ community doesn't represent anything except that everyone, because everyone's using these, is under the kingdom of the cute. The cute is what's operative, not whatever your identity is. And it's a serious aesthetic problem. The fact that we can't critique these things, that people have to use these things, that the computer has forced us into this weird... Some people actually talk about emojis as though they were creating a language. You know what? We've already passed through the period where languages were created by pictures, pictograms. You know, the ancient Mayan language was all pictures of different kinds of faces and such. We've already passed through that. We're going back, except this time we're not going back as adults, we're going back as children. And it's just like, oh, so cute. And don't forget that we now see sexual activity through this lens as well. This is both an aesthetic thing, and it says something about the nature of what this strange aesthetic condition is doing to us. There were never prostitutes like this before. This is a really recent thing. Recent, like in the last 20 years, of people pretending. People used to pretend to be different kinds of fantasy, role-playing creations. But this has changed the nature. It's not surprising that our morality is changing as we are adopting a connection to this imagery. So then there are the problems, as I mentioned before, that the cute is now connected much more openly with sex, the cute and violence, the cute and dark imagery. And here's what's interesting about this. The sex, the violence, and the dark imagery all become cute. Do you understand what I'm saying? Everything is put under the realm of the cute. The cute is its own little weird principality. And we live under it. It's very hard to get away from it these days. Walk into a bookstore, look around, you're going to see it. Walk into a movie theater, look at the posters, you're going to see it. Watch any advertisements, after a while you're going to see it. You know, whatever you take your children to go see at the movie theater or watch on YouTube or whatever, you're going to see it. You're going to see the cute everywhere, and more things being put into the category of the cute.
She got like 3 answers.
あ、でもね、一番簡単なのは、oops で十分ですよ。oops で。そうだね。oops で十分。
oops, I mistake. I made a mistake. Yeah.
そうそうそうそう。
OMG.
So, also, what the f is also 大丈夫。
いや、覚えてる、覚えた英語あるよ。Holy shit!
And there's cute language. Oh, I can't even say these things. LOL, LMAO, OMG. Even cute curse words. Now, you'll often hear people talking, saying extremely cute things, but yet at the same time saying words that were taboo 30, 40 years ago. That is to say, all the sexual things. So it's this very strange thing. Interestingly enough, I think postmodern irony and cuteness go hand in hand together. It's a marriage made in heaven.
Can I help you? We're here to pick up the Ferrari cake. Oh, yes, it's just about finished. What kind of truck are we loading it onto? We got that flatbed. Okay, well, we're just gonna need to... Casey, you numbskull, what'd you kill him for? I didn't mean to. Give me that. What's the matter with you? Take this. Everything all right? You nincompoop, that was the baker. He startled me. Casey! What'd you kill him for? Sit down. I'm a victim of circumstance. Who you hitting? Get out of here. Be quiet. You idiots. Now who's going to help us load the Ferrari cake onto the flatbed?
Because now you can see that there are no base foundations. Everything is up for grabs, so why not make them cute? And in fact, one of my main theses here is that in aesthetics, art went down a certain road, the road to modern art. Modern art was like scientists, pulling things apart to find out what things mean. But like digging a ditch, when you put everything back, you can't quite get it all back together again. There's always a bit more to put back than there was taking it apart. Cute has essentially become one of the major components stemming from the realities of postmodern life in which there are no certainties. So if there are no certainties, why not we just paint a baby smile on everything and you can put anything on that, and after a while, all the cursing and swearing becomes cute. After a while, all of our hatreds, even the word haters is cute. When people talk about, oh, he's a Marvel hater, they don't actually mean you're hating this with all of your guts. They mean, aw, he hates it. Good for him. You know, there's a cute juvenile quality to this.
Sorry, what? Okay, she's gonna go up. Don't worry, guys. I got a perfect way to solve this problem. Just a little closer. Damn it! Hey! Bring me back up. Bring me back up. Okay.
邪魔しないで。何？
Soy boy, cuck, simp. You're the lowest of the low. I'm sorry, I don't make the rules. Girls are stinky poos. Yeah, this is how it's been for millennia, eons. But now all of a sudden this guy has to come along and ruin it for everyone. I don't think girls are stinky poos.
I don't think. I think you're a queen. Can we have sex now?
Hey kids! Gather round, little ones, it's music time! Here is the story that I'm telling about a stupid fucking bitch ass melon.
I mean, gamers on YouTube exemplify this, especially in their Let's Plays, but also just talking. I like PewDiePie. I've made a whole video on PewDiePie, and I haven't got anything against him. What I really like about PewDiePie is the journey he seems to be on. He seems to be trying to become an adult, and that I really appreciate. However, if I watch too much PewDiePie, it's kind of like someone just gave me marshmallows, which are really soft and round, you know, and sometimes it just gets so ironic, but cutely ironic. Listening to, you know, descriptions of games, descriptions, and he'll do reactions of Dr. Phil shows. I mean, this is all ironic and cute. You know, this is all very postmodern. But here's my thought. The postmodern irony is not going to survive. But unless we seriously change our course culturally, aesthetically, the cute will. And the cute will end up being the thing after postmodernism. A lot of people, and I hear this all the time from people talking about postmodernism, postmodern philosophy, which is very different than postmodern culture. But I often hear people saying, well, we've just arrived at this point where we're kind of like, postmodernism is just going to go on and on and on. To which the answer is, nothing goes on and on and on. Least of all, something that doesn't believe that anything has a solid foundation. It's got to settle down. We often talk about post-impressionism, and we talk about Gauguin and Van Gogh and Cezanne. Well, you don't hear anything more about post-impressionism. You know, it's over. You know, it's just like these things, these post things are not final stops. They're just there's just a way of describing something we don't have words for yet. And where we're going is toward cute culture, cute ironic culture, cute identification culture. And that's really important. See, anything can be made to be cute. Horror images can be made to be cute. You know, Funko Pops of Leatherface in the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Again, what's happened is one of the most nightmarish horror films has been put under the banner of the cute. But the Texas Chainsaw Massacre did not win out this battle. The cute thing did. Likewise, Christianity can be put under the banner of the cute. And whether it's cute Christian songs or cute Christian paintings and posters or videos or, oh, Lord help me, cute anime Christian stuff. It's just, one wishes that we would wake up. It's almost enough to make you believe in the simulation theory, except this is not the simulation. This is what we are becoming. This is our reality. We have created this world. And we've gone as far as to create cute avatars for ourselves online. So people will get people. There are sites you can go to. You know, type in, make my avatar an anime or a cartoon, and you go there, and people will create these for you. Some people get some money for doing this. Otherwise, there's a website I found, nightmarishly weird, and yet so cute, and it shows you can mix and match all these different pieces to make a cute avatar of yourself. And what's weird about it is it makes no difference if it's male or female. if it's female with a beard or male with no hair or long hair, short hair, it doesn't make a difference. You can just mix and match these things endlessly, which kind of tells you where we're going here. Let's talk about cute propaganda and identity. And when I mean cute propaganda, I mean that anything put through with a cute message, if the cuteness is the way the message is presented. This is what Walt Disney realized a long time ago, is that if you want to communicate something, you give it to Mickey Mouse. And no one will get upset because it's Mickey Mouse. How could you? I mean, there are people who understand art and aesthetics who will actually say something. But we now have so much of this stuff that cute becomes a mode of defense. Cute is a smuggler of ideas. You can even use cute, and people do, they use cute things to attack the other propaganda that the other people made with cute things. There's a great illustration here from Poland where they put this, again, sexy image with a cute Mickey Mouse face on it to fight against, I don't know what it is. It doesn't matter. You've already, whatever you thought you were selling, you're only selling one thing. Cute irony. That's all you're selling. And in our society today, the cute takes precedence over any message you put into it. Everything, it's more important that we get that awe feeling than it is, and if not awe, then a really weird, ironic version of the awe.
Have you heard of LGBTQ plus? Well, I am the T. I have a mind that wants to be a boy. Yes, I'm trans and I'm proud to be me.
No, I'm just not cool with white supremacy, y'all. It's really not that. I think a lot of you gamers are actually white supremacists. Sorry. Just a fact.
It's interesting that cute things are generally look genderless. Why? Babies look genderless. Baby kittens look genderless. Baby dogs look genderless. Baby pigs look genderless. Everything looks genderless when it's a baby. But if you're more and more identifying as part of the cute, whether it's as the otherkin or dearkin, or as a furry, and I've discussed some of this stuff more in my video called 21st Century Cargo Cults. The cult of the cargo of the cargo cult is identity. And one of the main tools for expressing identity is the cute. It comes from the fact that so many people are fans of franchise entertainments, from video games to comic books, which are dying because of this very fact. Cute identification creates a really serious problem. And you can really see this with the trans movement, and it really is a movement. Anyone who says that all of this stuff is just happening naturally because it was all just bottled up, if you think all of your thoughts are your own and that somehow you're just creating your own identity out of whole cloth, I really feel sad for you because you don't understand the darkness of the world. And here's a question. What does it mean for us to surround our children, our infants, our toddlers, our young children, our young girls in particular, but also everyone, with cute things? I mean, at this point, I am sure there are some people just completely frustrated with this. Because they're saying something like, wait a minute, are you saying we shouldn't give, cute little toys to our kids? To which the answer is, I'm kind of saying we really have to question it. What's going on? Because whether you know it or not, when it comes to cuteness and education, cuteness and child raising, a 100 years ago, such things did not exist. How did people, like 150 years ago, near the beginning of the time when children's books were just starting to become a marketable commodity, how did the children live without big-eyed, cute representations of things? How did they look at the illustrations from Alice in Wonderland, which I'm sure the parents would read to the child and then occasionally stop, as my mother did, and show you the illustration. There's the Jabberwocky. If you know anything about the Jabberwocky, that is anything but cute. And in fact, it is more in line with what we call the creepy. And in fact, all older children's illustration now is under the realm of the creepy. And you can see where I'm going here. There's kind of two things going on at once. One, the past is being depth charged from above. Basically, people are saying, we can't look at this stuff anymore without being a bit creeped out by it. And two, we identify in that protection mode to be babies. How can you attack anyone who identifies in this cute mode as themselves? And the truth is, the LGBT gender community totally identifies themselves in the cute mode. This is not something I'm making up. All you have to do is type in the words cute and any word from that spectrum of ideas, and you will be overloaded with imagery in your image search. And some of it, you better make sure you put the safe search on. Some of it is just really, really, sex and cute just got totally mixed up. What's behind such things in education, like the idea of age appropriate? Well, I understand that. As someone who watches horror films, and I've heard people, take their children to, more than one person, often Russians for some reason, said they were 6 or 7 years old when they watched The Omen on television. And I'm sitting there going, you're never going to be comfortable around big dogs again. You're never going to look out of a building window again the same way. You've been scarred because someone took you to that before the age. That doesn't mean these people go on to hate horror films. Actually, it goes sometimes the other way around. But age appropriate is also used, though, to keep children bound to this cute imagery. And so, for instance, is it age appropriate to let a 2-year-old watch Baby Shark on repeat over and over and over again on your little iPad or whatever? And I would argue that's a really bad thing to do to a child. We have the idea that somehow, because the imagery is so cute, you can allow your children to wade in it. And I'm going to talk about this more when I talk about dolls and things like this, but I'm going to mention this right now. What is the effect of allowing your child to sleep with a doll that, looks like this? And were children harmed by sleeping with dolls that looked like this? And I would argue far more harm is done by allowing the child to live in this weird world of the cute than was ever done by giving the children a rather faceless rag doll, cloth doll. And there was a reason why Raggedy Ann was such a famous doll for so long. It's because she was fairly blank. Now, one could argue, cute things are kind of blank, but they're not blank in the same way. They are smuggling a message in as they come. Whereas the other one allowed your child to use the blankness of the richly textured doll in their fantasy world, to create things. It inspires creativity. Star Wars, the Marvel MCU, Minecraft, anything that is, Twilight, anything that inspires fan fiction and fan art does not create that much creativity. But Byrne, you just said the fan art and all of this was created because of, yes, but it's the imitation of something else, which was a huge, huge money-making franchise. Whereas the old-fashioned doll, and I will repeat this with much more detail when we get to the creepy, the old-fashioned blank doll was something that allowed the children to develop their own set of imagery. I mean, compare children's art from the past, and I've already mentioned this a bit, but think about this. The children's art of the past had all of these lines. And we now are of the opinion that children don't see lines for some reason, that they only see huge tracts of face with eyes. Let's make an image comparison of children's art. The older children's art had much more texture, had many more lines. You almost get the feeling now that age appropriate means that a young child cannot respond to anything done in detail. And what I would argue is you're not allowing the child to respond to anything done in detail. The idea is that you have to raise a child up, but I'm convinced cute imagery almost keeps them trapped in a box. What is my proof? The last 50 years of human beings being subjected to this stuff, the juvenilization of culture, the juvenilization of the American religion that I know, the juvenilization of education, all of this. I'm not saying cute has done all this. It is one major ingredient to the pie, though. And a lot of this developed in the post-Vietnam War era. I mean, there was already Mickey Mouse, and I remember growing up looking at Mickey Mouse and going, oh, it's Mickey Mouse. I was not super attached to it. And nor was I super attached. I, for instance, another cute thing that I have a lot of problems with is everything connected to Sesame Street. It is cute education. I thought one of the reasons Mr. Rogers works better is because he's honest, he's real, he gets a little cloying sometimes. That's from my perspective as an adult. But I think what he did on television was much healthier than what happened on Sesame Street, where essentially all the puppets, all the imagery, all the bright colors and everything. We have this idea that children don't understand color at all. That they have to have, again, it's the Fisher-Price idea of these big plastic colors. And when you go back into the past, you don't see that. Why? And I think that nostalgia is a very powerful amulet that we wear to protect ourselves and to prevent ourselves from seeing what we have all done to ourselves. And I say what we have done because it starts in my generation and a little bit earlier. But I can see, as time has gone by, the rise of this kind of imagery and even in the sense of the delayed adulthood. You see this, well, for instance, the nostalgia of going back. And so, my generation went back to the 50s to watching, getting DVD sets of Leave It to Beaver or something, My Three Sons or cartoons from the past, Bugs Bunny, whatever. Now people go back to the 80s, they go back to the 90s, and they remember all this stuff. Oh, do you remember Transformers and these robots and such? Oh, do you remember Marvel back in the day and all of this sort of thing? And I got no problem with nostalgia in that sense. I have a problem when it becomes a way to prevent yourself from growing up. then we have a huge problem. And we do have a huge problem. The idea is that the goal to human life is maturity while retaining our childlikeness, but not our childishness. And Americans are very good at not understanding the difference between those two. So someone says to me, unless you become as a child. Well, that's childlikeness. Childishness is rather narcissistic and selfish. Childlikeness is open with wonder to the world.
You are my sunshine, my only sunshine. You make me happy when skies are gray. You haven't no dear how much I love you. Please don't take my sunshine away.
And later Paul says, when I was young, I thought as a child, I spoke as a child. So you can't really use the Bible, although someone did a website called ThyGeekdom.com, which made me just want to put a bullet in my head because, and I'm saying that metaphorically, please. I'm saying that because, and I think even this whole literal thing, where people hear you say something and go, oh, comes from childishness. Because an adult would understand that you were being sarcastic. Not ironic, but sarcastic. Children don't understand sarcasm that way. It takes an adult to understand sarcasm. But yeah, nostalgia is a powerful weapon to keep us from questioning. It's a powerful amulet to keep us from questioning this cute stuff. And here's a question I'm not going to try to answer, except I've already made myself clear on what I already think, but I want to put this question in your head. And especially if you have children, or have grandchildren, or have any relationship to children, either through teaching or in the neighborhood or whatever, you have to ask yourself this: should young children be surrounded by cute things only? At all? And I think this is a deep, deep question. I mean, there are people I know who would hear me just say what I'm saying and think like, Byrne is some kind of a monster. Why? He's attacking children. He's attacking the cute things. He's attacking babies, baby-like things. But I am not. I want children to grow up. And that is my central focus. So what do we do? Well, first of all, we need to dig further into the history of these strange, cute images. You can trust me when I tell you these things never really existed much before, say, 100 years ago, in the 1920s. You start to see a turn towards something like this sort of imagery. Mickey Mouse is born then. But even then, he doesn't quite look yet like the baby mouse thing that he becomes by the end of the 1930s. But there are roots here that go in very surprising directions. But we're also going to talk about where the idea of this cute art came from. And it has a variety of sources. And then we're going to discuss how it slowly grew to take over culture, which it largely has. I mean, unless you can tell me why most, I would say 2/3, almost 3/3, 90% of the large cultural entertainment franchises all circle around children. Let's save that. Let's save that. We'll talk about it next time. Well, anyway, this is Byrne here in Tbilisi, Georgia. Do you know where that is? You should look it up on a map and save yourself the trouble, especially if you're new here. But just reminding you, the word Anadromous, from which I derived the name the Anadromist, means swimming against the stream, like salmon do. They swim up against the stream to go spawn, and the Pacific salmon go to spawn and die, and everybody is out to get them. And they have to swim through the estuary, up the river, to these little gravel beds. And on the way, the bears and the eagles and the wolves are all waiting for them. Yeah, it's kind of dangerous going home. But the word Anadromous means swimming against the stream. So do that. Swim against the stream. Learn to think for yourself. Don't just do something because all the people on the right or the left say to do it. You have to come up with your own thoughts. And as the Georgians say, droabit, which means temporarily. We'll be gone just a little while, and then we'll meet again with episode 3, The History of Cute.
When I go, I want you to give me 5 minutes. I told you boys I'm no escape artist. For the first time, I like the odds.
At the round earth's imagined corners, blow your trumpets, angels, and arise, arise from death, you numberless infinities of souls.